Okay, we are live on 2, 3, 4. Now live, 1964 soda. Yeah, so all the notifications just went out. Hey, Debbie. Bordeaux. We're looking good. Um, I found a 1964 soda bottle in my creek. It's right there. It's got a broken top. The top snapped off, unfortunately, but it's all pretty much the rest of it's not cracked or messed up. You can read the whole bottle. It's really cool. I looked it up on the internet. I was like, I figured it was something new because the graphics were like really cool and groovy. It's retro looking because it's old. You know, it's got like a picture of one of the seven dwarfs on it type thing. Really cool. Mike Streeper. Hello, Mike Streeper. Hello, Mark Andrew Barlow. Hello, Docky Hollandaise. Getting crazy. Docky Hollandaise. Getting crazy. Dave Campione, Oni. What's up, buddy? That's cool. You guys want to see it? So it's got a broken top, right? Too bad. But these things, when they're new condition, are worth $25 on the internet. Brownie grape soda. And it says Brownie Beverages. Taste the difference. Bottled under license from Moxie Monarch New Grape Company, Doraville, Georgia, 30340. Pretty cool, right? But look at the graphics on it, man. It's got like a little logo. It looks like kind of like one of the seven dwarves like face, right? And then it's got the same dude right there. He's holding the bottle of grape soda. Really cool. Taste the difference, it says. It says shake. It says shake well. It says at the top. Shake well. You know, so I guess a soda back then, I guess it wasn't carbonated or something. I don't know why you could shake a soda. Right? Okay, Google. What year did they start carbonating beverages? I'm sure it was carbonated, right? It wasn't carbonated.
According to SodaStream, the carbonation process was first invented by a man named Joseph Priestley.
Late 1700s. So carbonation's been around for a while. I don't know why that says shake well on it. You would think it would explode if it was carbonated and you shook it. Hey, freaking Arkle, what's up? Nick Brown, hello. Hippie Chick, hello. Margie, hello. They're doing good. Thanks for asking. James, hello. The things you find in the creek are badass. I know, bro. Well, my buddy said, go ahead and keep the trucks. He's like, because he thought I had a full set of wheels. He's like, oh, if you've only got two of them, he's like, you keep that. He's like, you put that, hang it up, put it on a shelf. I will. Totally, I'm going to keep this. But, dude, not bad finds, bro. Really not bad at all. It's really cool, man. And, you know, I got to make sure to wear sandals every time I'm in there because I'm finding plenty of broken glass. It's dangerous. But the good thing is I don't have to worry about somebody else stepping on this, you know, and you could get killed if you stepped on something like that. You could just bleed out in the creek, you know? So, yeah, that's very sharp and dangerous. So it's a good thing that's here. Let's put this right here. You guys can see it. Be cool. And that, of course, this green bottle, I showed you guys that came out of the creek too. It's a pretty wine bottle. That's cool. Finding the graphics look good, right? Yeah, and I looked it up on the internet, and that was kind of fun too. Was investigating what it was on the internet. Get a metal detector? Yeah, somebody recommended that to me, or a magnet. Yeah, it's a good idea. So semi-dirty bong. It's not clean anymore. So I figured I'd just say it was not clean glass. Show in the you found a beer can from the 90s in a creek. Hey man, that's before you were born. That's funny. From the 90s, it had one of those pop tops on it, didn't it? It's nice when you get a text message from exactly who you want to get a text message from at that exact moment. Did you hear about how my channel helped Doc Holliday get the confidence to ask for a raise and how Doc helped the other departments get raises at his job? No, man, I didn't. That's fantastic. You got him a raise? Old Budweiser? Garrett detectors? Okay, Garrett. All right, let's smoke because freaking Oracle got everybody a raise at Doc Hollandaisy's job. That's great. Cheers. What did you tell him? Hey, Ice, cheers, buddy. Dude, the bottle's from 1964. It was here years before. It was in that creek years before we built the home. 20 years. $20 before we built the home. That bottle's been in there forever. That bottle was there before I was born, bro. The bottle is older than me. It's almost withstood the test of time. It's too bad that the top broke off of it. Probably was woods and like drinking soda. He feels like he's worth per hour and chase it. He went to another restaurant. They were offering him more. So he went back to his boss and that started the ball rolling. Hell yeah. That's great, man. You were quite the inspiration, bro. Everybody should watch freaking Oracle so you guys can make more money on all levels. One second. Ooh, now I am ready. Now I am ready. Gotta start working into these again, huh? Now I gotta start working into those again. I put on like 10 pounds, can you tell? We always find old bottles and even marbles. A lot of folded glass from leftover casting. Zach Zank. Cool bottle, dude. I just went to the dock in Northern California, Eureka. They're free fishing and crabbing. People in UK go to canals with magnets and they find a lot of good things in the odd unexploded bomb from World War II. My ex used to own a museum called the Museum of Beverage Containers in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. Never heard of Goodlettsville. Goodlettsville. Huh. Lisa, hello. Oracle, I did the same thing during the pandemic. Asked for a raise and they said no. So I went from a forklift operator to a shit sucker, but worth the trade money-wise. Huh. That's interesting. The magnets are cool. Yeah, put a magnet on a chain and just drag it through the creek and just see what comes up, man. You know, the way I'm finding this stuff, it's really interesting. I'm putting on a I've got my shoes on, these sandals, and I have them on my feet so it protects my feet, and I just fan the sand at the bottom with my foot, and it just blows this. It opens up these giant holes in the center of the creek, and sometimes just things rise up. It displaces enough sand that these things just kind of roll around, and you can see them. And after the water clears, you could see things. I saw this one broken bottle. It was dangerous as hell. I'm so glad I found it. It was like a bottle like this, but just the bottom of it with a bunch of jagged glass sticking straight up, about a half inch to an inch in length. Man, it would have killed somebody. If somebody had stepped on that, it would have killed them. And I'm so glad. It was in the upright position too. And it could have been me that stepped on it, or a kid, because there's kids that walk through there too. And I'm just so glad that I was in there doing that, cleaning that out, man, because, man, you got to wear boots in there. People, it's just terrible that people throw glass in a creek. They never think, people just, when they do something like that, they just don't think. Throw a freaking beer bottle in a freaking creek, man. It could kill somebody someday. Isn't that crazy? For 9 years. Wow. Goodlettsville. Let me see. Goodlettsville? What was I calling it? Goodlettsville. I love Florida, man. I've had so much fun. Yeah, I love Florida too. But like anywhere else, it can be dangerous, I can be dangerous for other people too. I don't like to talk about that though. It's a dangerous place, man. But just anywhere in the world can be dangerous. My friend wanted me to go to a bar today, sit down and have a drink with her, and I said, there's a new outbreak of COVID, and I really don't want to be out in a big public area around a bunch of people that are drinking alcohol, let alone, just clustering together inside a building. Call me crazy, but I just don't want to get sick, man. I don't want to be sick for 2-3 fucking weeks. I hate being sick. I've got enough problems right now that I'm dealing with. Roggy's leg seems to be getting better. My buddy Billy brought his Rhodesian Ridgeback over. It's like, 100-pound Rhodesian Ridgeback, really tall, and like a small horse. And this dog he's very playful, but giving Roggy a hard time, and Roggy just was not having it, man. And Roggy is just totally finding his viciousness and is baring his teeth, and snapping. And he gave that dog about 6 messages, code red. Don't mess with me. You are barking up the wrong short-legged doggy. And luckily, Roggy didn't nip that dog, but that dog he just wanted to instigate Roggy so bad. He kept pretending to nip at his neck. And every time he would do that, Roggy would respond like he was really biting at him. And Roggy would get vicious with that dog. And, we let him chase him around for a little bit because my buddy Billy's dog is super fast. And he would goad Roggy, and then Roggy couldn't catch him, And we kind of enjoyed that for a little bit, and then we made him stop because, Roggy's, like I said, Roggy can't be messing with his leg. Didn't even smoke or vape anymore. Who should I give my $500 vaporizer to? You got a Volcano vape. You want to give it away? Zach, what I recommend you do with your Volcano vape is you do a giveaway on your Facebook channel if you do have like a show that you do on Facebook. You know, do you do uploads? You could give it away on there to your Facebook friends, you know, and have like a raffle or something. After that, I went to the ward for almost a month. Dude, I had COVID in Ohio and they kept me for a week. And after that, I went to the ward for almost a month. Zach Zank. I don't want COVID, man. I don't want to catch it. I just don't want to try my luck with this thing, you know? My ex was in the Smithsonian for owning the largest beer can and soda beverage collection in the world. Huh. For owning. Wow. That's a lot of beer and soda beverage cans. Must take up a lot of space. Raffle it off, then take the money and donate it to an animal shelter. I got a glass blower I want to link you with so you can check out his stuff. Soulshine Arts. Please give them a look. Thanks, brother. I appreciate the reference there. All right. So, I'm smoking that blueberry. Is that a plane flying over? Yes. Listen to that thing. It's a slow-flying Cessna, I assume. Not going very fast. Seemed to be over the house for quite some time. Well, we going to smoke some of this blueberry? Is that what we're going to do? We got the bong packed. We're ready to go. Some of this old blueberry, man. I'm enjoying this old vintage cannabis. Vintage. I'm enjoying this old cannabis. It's aged well, and it gets me good and stoned. Cheers, everybody. That's terrible, Mark. Be safe, bro. No law regarding cannabis. Yes, definitely. I kind of feel like doing a dab. Did it. A bang 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 a bang 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 wow 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 that Bow, 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 bow. You got the bong sweats? Well, Mark, dude, you think we're going to go to war with Russia? Ukraine shot down their flagship. I don't know if you realize this or not, man. We're at war with Russia right now. I mean, you know, we're giving Ukraine the weapons to fight Russia with our technology. We literally have our soldiers in Ukraine that are helping, that are offering assistance. So, I mean, we're at war, bro. It's not do I think we're gonna, it's just too bad that you don't realize that we're already at war with Russia. And they don't want it to end, man, because we watched the whole thing and this could have been stopped. But we have a mentality that unfortunately convinces us that everything we do is good and everything Russia does is bad and they are the good guy, they are the bad guys and we're the good guys. It's all black and white and there's no in between and there's no gray area, and the entire documented course of events is obscured by narrative. It's pathetic. I'm just glad that YouTube still has that video of that guy speaking, the professor emeritus from Harvard, right? Russian relations, explaining how this could have all been avoided back in 2015, but we were too busy funding the Ukraine to shell Donbass region of ethnic Russians. And you murder, if somebody was murdering ethnic Americans in another country, we'd lose our shit. Well, that's what Putin did. He lost his shit. And we were funding it. So go look that shit up, The information's out there. I mean, you could choose to ignore it, but it doesn't make it not so. That's what's so freaking crazy about it all. And then you got, Nika, whatever her name is, Brzezinski, saying that it's her job to tell people how they should think. That's our job. Who does Elon Musk think he is trying to tell people how they should think? That's our job. Trying to control the way people think. That's our job. Mika Brzezinski. I just saw it on video. It's crazy. I just saw it on Twitter. I showed my mom. Getting moved to the second floor because I get crazy and want to end my life. And I have this one window. Okay, Zach, stay positive. We want you to stay positive, bro. All right, Iceman, cheers. Keep watching the show. I'll keep you positive, bro. Forget about it. So oily on my lips. Oily. Oily, oily, oily. Oily, 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 oily. It was a massive dab. I'm very high right now. So, some people, I guess, are going to believe what they want to believe. But I just recommend that you get your news from sources that are unbiased, as opposed to getting your information from something like mainstream media that's controlled by our government, state-run TV. So once again, I'm going to turn you on to Stephen F. Cohen from 2015. Okay, this is before there could have been a narrative around a Ukrainian war, because this was in 2015. Okay, so go ahead and listen to what Stephen Cohen says, and go ahead and listen to the intro too. So important. I really think it's very important that this is all over the internet.
It's obviously a very important and good time to be talking about Russia and U.S.-Russian relations and Russia's role in the world.
2015.
World events at the moment.
2015.
World events. You can find the Commonwealth Club on the internet.
You guys remember when everyone laughed at Mitt Romney? Barack Obama said, "Yeah, excuse me, Mitt, but the 1980s call. They want their foreign policy back or something." Because they asked Barack Obama and Mitt Romney, what is the biggest threat to America today? And Barack Obama said climate change, and Mitt Romney said Russia. And everyone made fun of Mitt Romney for saying that.
To read about other upcoming programs and activities, commonwealthclub.org. And it's my very great pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Our format's going to be a short talk by Dr. Cohen, and then he and I will have a conversation and go more in depth. And of course, we do very much encourage you to write your questions, hand them over to one of the helpers on the sides, and give us some good fodder for the discussion. Dr. Stephen Cohen is Professor Emeritus of Russian Studies and Politics at New York University and Princeton University. He's a contributing editor to The Nation magazine. I should ask, how many of you attended the event last night with The Nation magazine? We're happy to have the publisher Katrina vanden Heuvel here with us. And if you enjoyed last night's presentation, you'll surely enjoy
My
the
friend's
presentation
here.
With her husband.
Do you want a dab?
Well, your friends are
I'm saying that to my show. Yeah.
Professor Cohen is a member of the board of a recently formed organization,
Do you
the
want,
American Committee
like-
for East-West Accord.
Do you want to
He
get
and I
like
were talking a little bit
blasted or just a
beforehand, and
little?
he reminded me
Okay.
that there was a committee on East-West Accord back in the Nixon era, which was a pro-détente organization. So it's back in the new era of
My sister was in her hair
in Russia.
cutting days.
So he's one
That's
of the
what she would do to
founders
me.
and board member of the new American Committee for East-West Accord. He's the author of Soviet
I
Fates
wasn't-
and
I wasn't a fan.
Alternatives From Stalinism to the New Cold War. The Victim's
Well,
Return,
I'm an actor.
Survivors of the
What can I
Burnout
say?
After Stalin,
I'm a good actor.
and Bukharin and the Bolshevik Revolution. He's one of the nation's most distinguished scholars on Russia
He's
and
what?
the Soviet Union before that.
Yeah, American Bully.
And a terrific.
Look how his head goes back and forth.
So thank
What's
you
that?
so much, and welcome to Professor Stephen Cohen.
He's got the same colors. All right, here he is. Here's the man himself, 2015.
They say that the farther you go from home, the better introductions you get. I would say the farther you go from Washington and the internet and the mainstream media, the better introductions you get.
And we let it cool down for like a
Some
minute.
of you probably know that the small group of us who have been protesting American policy toward Russia since the Ukrainian crisis began 2 years ago have been described in harsh and I would say derogatory language as Putin's apologists and Putin's useful idiots. Putin's
You would have voted?
America's best friend.
I'm pretty good.
Paris should have changed everything, but for these people, it hasn't.
But I'll
I
take
clicked
more.
on the internet this morning just before I came here, and there it was again. So let me begin with a word about myself. My answer to these charges is no, I, not you, am the patriot of American national security. And I actually have been ever since I started studying Russia, which is about 50 years ago. I started out in Kentucky. I ended up in Indiana with my dear friend Ralph Cohen, whom I haven't seen in quite a while, but who lives here in San Francisco.
Now, remember,
Here today,
don't
a
touch
colleague
this.
I studied with.
Super
Professor
hot.
Barry
It'll
Schultz.
scorch
He
you.
can
So this is
testify.
really hot.
I was doing this many, many years ago.
Not like you don't have
Along
to
the way, I
carve it
came
or
to a
anything.
conviction. Exactly why and how doesn't matter. That American national security runs through Moscow. This
Slow,
was
slow,
true
slow.
when the Soviet Union existed. This is true
Take
today.
your time.
What it means in
It's kind of
plain
burned for a
terms
long time.
is
So
that
don't touch it.
whichever existential or grave world threat you might emphasize, and for some people it's climate change, for some people it's human rights, for some people it's the spread of democracy. For me,
Rogan.
it has been for quite a
Yeah.
while the new kind of terrorism.
All right, you guys
affects the
pay
world.
attention
It's no longer
to
these
this guy.
so-called non-state actors. These guys are organized. They have an army. They have a self-professed state. They have a
Would
capacity
you like
to
to see
harm
the
us
waterfalls?
bravely. Everybody seems to have forgotten 9/11 in Boston, but Paris should have reminded us of what's at stake. So for me, the threat in the world today that gets the priority, and I mean it gets the priority of the President of the United States, I don't
Crazy,
care whether
right?
he's Republican or Democrat, is the combination of this new kind of terrorism, these civil wars, ethnic, religious, zealous civil wars, which drive this terrorism, and the fact that these guys desperately want
it's like a little
materials
7-door
of weapons of mass
Yeah, it's
destruction.
really retro-y looking.
A cup this size of radioactive
$25 if it
material
was
aboard
whole.
those planes on
I
9/11
know.
would have made lower Manhattan inhabitable even today. They're using conventional weapons, bombs, mortars, and guns. But if they'd had it in Paris, Paris would have had to been evacuated. This is the real threat today. This kind of threat cannot be even marginally diminished. And I'm not sure we can ever end it in our lifetime. This may be the new normal. But diminished and made, probably not the right word, manageable, unless we have a partner in the Kremlin. That's the long and the short of it. Note, I didn't say a friend. Clinton and Nixon went on about their dear friend Brezhnev and their dear friend Yeltsin. It was all for show. I don't care whether we like this person or not. What we need are these common interests and a partnership. The way two business people make a contract, they've got the same interest. They trust each other because if one side violates the interest, the other guy's interest is violated. We haven't had that. We don't have it today, even after Paris. But that is essentially what I've been saying for 2 years. And in return, people say that's unpatriotic. And I argue, no, it's the highest form of patriotism in regard to American national security. So I will make a few points today very briefly, very starkly, and rather than give a lecture, which actually a lecture for me means 55 minutes. I can't do a minute more, a minute less. That this is for discussion. And I'm really less interested in lecturing than hearing what's on the mind of my old friend, Gloria. We started out together many years ago. I'm more years ago than her, but in the same geographical location and on your minds. The chance for a durable Washington-Moscow strategic partnership was lost in the 1990s after the Soviet Union ended. Actually, it was lost earlier because it was Reagan and Gorbachev who gave us the opportunity. But it certainly ended in the Clinton administration. And it didn't end in Moscow, it ended in Washington. It was squandered and lost in Washington. And it was lost so badly that today, for at least 2 years, and I would argue since the Georgian War of 2008, we have been in literally a new Cold War with Russia. Now, people don't want to call it that who made American policy during the last 20 years, because if they said, yes, we're in a new Cold War, they have to explain what they were doing during this time. So they say, oh, it's not a Cold War. Okay. It's a really horrible situation and exceedingly dangerous. And here's my next point. This new Cold War has all the potential to be even more dangerous than the preceding 40-year Cold War for several reasons. First of all, think about it. Those of us in this room of that generation, and we seem to be in the majority, know that the epicenter of that Cold War was in Berlin, not close to Russia. And there was an enormous buffer zone between Russia and the West in these satellite or bloc countries in Eastern Europe. Today, the epicenter is literally on Russia's borders in Ukraine. It's Ukraine that set this off. And Ukraine remains the ticking time bomb politically. And this is not only on Russia's borders, this is through the heart of Russia's and Ukrainians' Slavic civilization. This is a civil war even more profound in its ethos than was the American Civil War. These are people who were raised in the same faith, speak the same language, are intermarried. Any of you know how many intermarried Russian and Ukrainians there are today? My wife, Katrina vanden Heuvel, to paraphrase John Kennedy, I accompanied Katrina vanden Heuvel to San Francisco. You'll remember John Kennedy's famous remark about his wife, or you won't. But this is profound division. And this issue, for all the terrorism, continues to be the ticking time bomb that can do a lot more damage. So but the fact that it's right on Russia's border and in, so to speak, the Russian-Ukrainian soul, at least half of Ukrainian soul, the other half yearns for Western Europe, fair enough, makes it even more dangerous. Still worse, you'll remember that after the Cuban Missile Crisis, Moscow and Washington developed certain rules of mutual conduct. They saw how dangerous, how close we came to nuclear war. So no-nos, whether they were encoded in treaties or unofficial understandings between Soviet and American leaders, you don't do this. Each side knew where the red line was. Now, we tripped over it occasionally, but we immediately pulled back because there was a mutual understanding that there are red lines. There are no red lines today. One of the things that Putin and his predecessor Medvedev keep saying to Washington, you're crossing our red lines. And Washington says there are no red lines. You don't have any red lines. We have red lines. I mean, you can't have a military base in Canada or Mexico, but we can have all we want around your borders. Red lines don't exist. So there are no rules. And stop and think. In recent years, there have been 3 proxy wars between the United States and Russia already. Georgia in 2008, Ukraine beginning in 2014, and until Paris, and maybe still in Syria, because we don't know what position Washington's going to take on Syria. Hollande made his decision. He declared a grand alliance with Russia. Washington, as they say in Russia, is silent, or worse. But we're waiting to see if this new proxy Cold War goes on, and there are no rules in any of these 3 areas. Moreover, and I feel this, because I'm old enough to remember the 70s and 80s, there is absolutely no effective organized anti-Cold War, pro-détente political force in the United States at all. Not in either political party, not in the White House, not in the State Department, not in the mass media, not in the universities, not in the think tanks. I see Sharon Tennyson, who's here, nodding her head yes, because we remember when we had allies, even in the White House, among aides of the presidents, where we had allies in the State Department, and we had senators and members of Congress who were pro-détente and supported us and spoke for themselves and gave us opportunities. Doesn't exist today. And without that in a democracy, what do? We don't throw bombs. We argue. So this is exceedingly dangerous.
Hey, Mr. Slowski's here.
My fourth
Slowski.
point is a question to you.
You guys learning anything?
He shook his head and slobber came
Who's
off his
responsible
head
for
and
this,
laid right
Nicole?
on your dad's forehead.
I don't ask this
I wiped
question
it off.
because I want to say, oh,
But it was like this
let's name
weird,
names. Just- They've probably been here.
For him shaking his
Gary
head like
Kasparov
that.
and Michael
Yeah.
Fall should repent. And they say Stephen Cohen should be shot. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in a change of policy, which can only come from the White House. Congress could help. But we need to know what went wrong and why, or we're not going to have any rethinking and we're not going to have any new policy. And at the moment, there's no rethinking in the United States. There's a lot in the European Parliament. There's a lot of angst in the French press today about this question, and in Germany, and in the Netherlands. And even Cameron is rethinking. Suddenly wants his picture taken with Putin. Thinks it might help him at home. Now, the position of the American political media establishment is that this new Cold War is all Putin's fault. All of it, everything. We did nothing wrong. At every stage, we were virtuous and wise, and he was aggressive and a bad man. And therefore, what's to rethink? He's got to do the rethinking, not us. I disagree. And this is what's brought the opprobrium down on me. Of saying, because I was raised like this down in Kentucky, it's a silly adage, but it's probably true. There are two sides to every story. And these people are actually telling us no to this story, the history of American-Russian relations, only one side. No need to see anything through the other person's eyes. Just get out there and be a cheerleader for our side of the story.
Right.
And I don't want to make too fine of a connection here, but you keep doing that and you're going to have a lot of Parises, including here in the United States. And that's why I say we have to be patriots of American national security. The reality is, for whatever reasons, the Clinton administration adopted in the 1990s a winner-take-all policy toward Russia. They said, we won the Cold War. That isn't true. Get Jack Matlock out here and he'll tell you the inside story. He was at Reagan's side when he negotiated with Gorbachev at every step. You can look it up, as Casey Stengel used to say. The reality is the Clinton administration adopted unwise policies, winner-take-all. And what were the consequences of these policies? Well, they were a lot. They blew the chance for strategic partnership. But the four policies that most offended Russia and offend them today were the following. Obviously, the decision to expand NATO right to Russia's borders. I mean, it's a joke. We say Putin has violated the post-Cold War order of Europe. Russia was excluded from the post-World War, post-Cold War order of Europe by NATO.
Okay, so just that's a primer. We're going to get more into that. I'm going to get out of here. You guys take care. No law regarding learning something about what really happened. All right, love you guys. I'll see you later. Turn on your notifications. Later, guys.